Can you beat Mass Effect Legendary Edition without using your guns? I wanted to give it a go to find out how much it would affect the feel of the game and whether it was a doable challenge. The rules are simple. I can't use my guns or grenades, only melee attacks and abilities to take on the Reaper threat. The squad only use their starting weapons, as you can't unequip them. And we play on Insanity difficulty because I'm no casual smooth brain who's scared of a challenge. Our main character is Sadie, also known as Sadist Shepard, because you would have to be a sadist to try this. After a lot of thought, I decided we would play as the Sentinel class as it seemed to offer a decent balance of biotic and tech abilities, which we were going to be very reliant on. The light armor limitation did concern me a bit to begin with, but hey, we couldn't have a class that could do everything, right? Our journey begins on Eden Prime, where we've been tasked with securing a Prothean beacon, an ancient piece of technology from a long-lost alien race. This is Nihilus, our edgy Turian friend. He's going to scout ahead because he works on his own and is this unkillable Spectre soldier.
The mission's yours now, Shepard. Good luck!
Going into this challenge, my first concern was my abilities, not so much what they did, but the cooldowns on them, as I was very limited on what I could do, and without them I was left with only melee, which wasn't always going to be viable. Our starting abilities were Throw, a biotic ability that does reasonable damage and sends his target flying back, and Sabotage, which did a small amount of damage but disabled weaponry for a short time. But before I could think too much about it, Shepard decided to start taking the piss out of the local wildlife for some reason.
Don't worry, they're harmless. Oh god.
Do I have to...
What happened?
What did I do? I didn't help.
Eden Prime will never be the same again.
What? I don't know what I did. Okay, there we go. As we ventured on, I couldn't help but think back to something Jenkins had said back on the ship.
You're from Eden Prime, aren't you, Jenkins? What's it like?
It's very peaceful, Commander.
Ripped right through his shields. You're out of chance.
Now that we were a man down, it got me thinking about how the combat was likely to go moving forward, and how much I was going to be depending on my squad mates. I knew cooldowns were going to be a problem in the early game as we didn't have many to use, which led me to having a lot of downtime and took me out of fights quite a lot. This meant I was going to need to make use of cover to stay safe because enemies do a lot of damage on the Insanity difficulty. I was also worried about what kind of damage we were going to be able to do as I became aware that some enemies weren't affected by some damage types. Then there was the idea of how much damage are we going to be able to take. As a Sentinel we were limited to light armor, and combined with the difficulty we were on, I had a feeling that being one-shot was going to become a common theme. Just as my concerns were rising, we found Ashley Williams, our new addition to the team, a team that I quickly realised I was going to be very dependent on. Ashley reminded me what it's like when you open the front-facing camera of your phone at 3 AM. Oof. With her, we get our first look at the Geth, who for some reason were redecorating Eden Prime. With a quick briefing from Ashley, Kaiden immediately got weird in the presence of more than one woman. On the plus side, he seemed to be embracing the no-gun run. In our next fight, I realised the melee might be more useful than expected. It did reasonable damage, at least for this stage in the game, but more importantly on humanoid targets it knocked them down, so I effectively had a near infinite form of single target stun. For the most part though, combat was pretty straightforward so far. I mostly just had to play safe, as we were usually outnumbered and neither me nor my squad could take much of a hit. As I mentioned before, the melee was proving to be better than I thought it would, and I was pleased with the abilities that were going to be available to us as the Sentinel class. A good combination of tech and biotic abilities, most of which had more than one effect and would allow me to get creative with how I used them in different encounters. But for now, we were stuck with the basics until we got some more skill points. After a brief incursion with the locals, we met a couple of scientists who asked us what our plan for this challenge was. We jump back to our super powerful, unkillable, definitely has plot armor and is vital to the story friend Nihilus, who finds yet another Turian,
Sarin.
who he recognises as another Spectre.
Nihilus.
He doesn't seem to question all the metal and tubes forming in and around his skin.
This isn't your mission, Sarin. What are you doing here? I wasn't expecting to find the Geth here. The situation's bad.
Don't worry. I've got it under control.
It's always nice when friends catch up. It was now that we got our first look at a Reaper. Not that Shepard knows what that is yet. Followed by our biggest assault from the Geth so far. Even though we weren't using our guns, I was still picking up loot, mostly in the hopes of finding some good armor, omni tools or biotic amps to boost our effectiveness. Most of it though was mods or spare weapons which we couldn't use. The mods may prove useful in other ways later on though, and even if they didn't, it was still an easy form of credits and omnigel. After running around like a madman trying to take out individual Geth as quickly as possible while managing cooldowns and trying to stay safe, we met the painful end of a rocket launcher, which to my surprise didn't kill us. I then thought it would be a good idea to try and melee the Geth destroyer, but Shepard didn't seem to share that idea. Can you hit him? Please? Ow. Oh god, yeah, you're gonna... You're gonna kill me. No, god damn it. There's the first death. Yeah, these slow cooldowns were a problem. Kaiden thought this was the perfect time to rizz up Ashley with his highly trained combat prowess. Managing cooldowns and using cover was going to be paramount. Things were slow going for now, but I had faith that once I got more abilities and some upgrades that we'll be able to even the playing field. Stop it. Stop it. I get him? Using melee to stun targets when they got close was so useful, especially after realizing I can hit multiple targets with one swing. Yeah, that felt good. At least using my abilities felt good, had okay damage, and could help out in other situations. For example, using throw to give me a window to close the gap or move between cover, or using sabotage to prevent incoming fire for a few seconds. I was limited, but I felt like we had a good set of tools to start with. I just had to get creative, which was fun realizing I was already needing to adjust how I approach fights. Stop it. Hey. Those two are dead. After defusing some bombs and settling a domestic dispute, I had to remind Kaiden that he wasn't the main character.
Shepard!
No, don't touch. It's too.
First mission was officially finished and I was feeling good. I was already understanding some of the core aspects of this challenge, but was having fun in the process. Speaking of having fun, Sarin decided to get hot and heavy with the Asari matriarch. As much as I love the Mass Effect story, this challenge was about gameplay, so I won't bore you with too much of the downtime. That being said, we woke up, had a go at Kaiden,
It's my fault.
I expect better of you, Lieutenant.
mourned Jenkins,
I still can't believe we lost Jenkins.
There's nothing we could have done to save him.
and went to the Citadel.
My specialty is touch. My fingertips can find every tension point in your body and relieve it.
I can't believe I didn't come sooner.
Nice.
If you can convince him to stop spreading lies about me, I
So
will be
awkward.
very grateful.
Before the council meeting, we met the future alien space boyfriend,
Garrus Vicarian.
and then the meeting went about as expected.
Your species needs to learn its place, Shepard.
You can expect me to kill you the next time we meet.
This meeting is adjourned.
Now seemed to be the best time to spend some skill points and have a think about what I want to prioritize, as well as collect some side quests so we can start getting XP and equipment. Early on, it seemed like leveling up one of the speech skills for more dialogue options and easy XP was a given. The renegade/intimidation choices felt like they fit the theme of this run and were usually pretty entertaining. I spent my other skill points on trying to either unlock as many new abilities as fast as possible, or reducing the cooldown timers on the skills that we had, both of which would reduce downtime in fights, but having more usable skills opened up more options for us in how to deal with encounters. The individual skill trees bolster the damage and cooldowns of that particular ability, while the Sentinel tree gave us a buff to all of our cooldowns. Having improved our damage and offensive capability, next would be to take a look at our defenses, but this was less of a concern right now, as while we were on the Citadel, we'd mostly be exploring and going through dialogue. While doing this, I was also trying to be mindful of who we might have in our squad that we might be able to synergize with. With that in mind, we bumped into what was going to be a crucial asset to the squad, the always obedient alien space turtle himself, Erdnot Rex.
I don't take orders from you.
This is your only warning, Rex. You want me to arrest you?
I want you to try.
Oh, look at that, Garrus is playing hero again, as per norm.
No, if Garrus comes around, you stay smart. Keep your mouth shut or we'll... Who are you?
Let her go.
Correct?
Who do they work for?
They worked for Feast. They wanted to shut me up, keep me from telling Garrus about the Quarian.
The one I told you about, Shepard.
This is your show, Shepard. But I want to bring Sarin down as much as you do. I'm coming with you.
After helping Garrus save the Doctor, he decided he wanted to join us as he was also investigating Sarin, but being a C-Sec officer wasn't getting him very far when investigating someone as high profile and classified as a Spectre. He wanted other ways to take down what he had deemed a disgrace to his species, and we needed all the help we could get. Plus Garrus is cool, so he was definitely coming along. With the team looking better and better, I decided to follow that quest line which took us to the bar where we were looking for Rex's target, a man named Fist, and some information on a Quarian. This is where we met what felt like the first of many very large, solid walls of this challenge. It's important to note that at this point I hadn't upgraded any of the squad skills as I wasn't sure on who I was going to be using and what skills I should prioritize. So it turns out the standard human enemies in the bar weren't too much of a threat as long as I took cover. There were a couple that were armed with shotguns which made getting close to them a bit scarier. Thankfully most of them stayed in a given position so I could just pick them off one by one. But by far the biggest problem was what was on the other side of the room, a Krogan. A walking tank armed with a shotgun and the ability to regenerate his health in combination with high defenses. Oh, and did I mention his melee can one-shot me? This whole bar encounter was tough, the biggest problem being the walking heap of shit for brains that was the enemy Krogan. Alongside the small room with lots of enemies, my slow cooldowns, and frankly, an under-equipped squad. Rex could take a bit of punishment, but not enough to fully take aggro yet, and Garrus was so squishy he basically didn't get to do much. After running for my life a couple of times, I noticed that if the Krogan followed me out of the bar, he would then try to get back in the room, but the automatic door would close and he couldn't open it, leaving him kind of stuck. This made me realise, even though some of these enemies were going to pose a real threat to the run, one thing I hadn't considered was my ability to manipulate or break their AI. Having got him stuck, I wondered if I could save my cooldowns by just meleeing him. Turns out if I got too close to him, he re-aggroed, and if he used his immunity ability, I basically couldn't do damage to him. Also, melee damage goes through shields, which was both a blessing for when I was meleeing a target, but a curse when I was on the receiving end of the attack, as it meant my barrier ability was basically useless against the more physically inclined enemies. Knowing I could at least get the overgrown rage-fueled sack of genophage stuck was a bit of a relief, as long as I didn't get too close to him. It's about now I thought it best we take a look at some skills. The first thing that became very clear was that Rex was going to be necessary at all times. The natural tankiness of the Krogan allowed for Rex to effectively be my tank role, where his main job was to take aggro and live as long as possible. Several of Rex's skills bolstered his health and his natural regen abilities, which made his sheer presence in combat vital. For Garrus, I focused on leveling his tactical armor skill, which improved his armor rating while also allowing him to unlock medium armor later on. Survivability was our main concern right now. I also threw some points into Turian Agent to increase his accuracy, making him more dependable in fights. With some newly placed skill points, we gave it another go, and thankfully gained another level during the fight itself. This was huge as we had unlocked our electronic skill tree, which improved our shields, but more importantly gave me the Overload ability, which did massive damage to a target's shields, did a small amount of damage to their health, and gave them a debuff causing them to take more damage for a few seconds. This then became one of our main combat strategies for the rest of the run. I focus on destroying a target's shield and debuffing them while the squad lays into them, hopefully securing the kill. I was feeling good, we were stronger, we were developing some strategies and squad synergy, now we just had to get past this Krogan blockade. After the Krogan mollywopping the squad again, I suddenly remembered back to one of the times where we had got the Krogan stuck, and after moving far enough away, he unloaded. This then made me wonder what would happen if I left the combat area. What if I just leave? But they're back. Turns out, if I can move far enough away, it force respawns the squad and teleports them to me, without the whole encounter resetting. Oh, welcome back, lads. This was huge as it meant we could go in, I could force the squad to get aggressive, and even if they went down, I could get them back and continue fighting. With the upgraded team, me having more abilities and the respawn trick, we were still struggling, but I knew how we had to do this. Step 1, take out all the human enemies in the room while avoiding the Krogan. Step 2, respawn the team, and if need be, allow them to heal and let the cooldowns reset. Step 3, bait out the Krogan's defensive abilities. I did this by doing a certain amount of damage and getting within a certain range so we would use them, but this also involved me commanding the team to stay back while I did this so they don't go down before we get a chance to jump him. Step 4, profit. Oh god, he killed Rex. Oh god, he's killing me. Now Garrus is dead. Oh god. Keep kiting him around when he doesn't do anything.
Say goodnight.
Oh god, here he comes.
Now I'm ready.
Get up, Garrus. You're fine. Oh, he's on the ground. Get him. Fuck him up. Get him, lads.
Kill confirmed.
Yes, we got him. Yes. After a few more attempts and some help from the furniture, the Krogan was down.
Stop right there. Don't come any closer.
I just killed 50 bodyguards to get in here. What do you think I'll do to you?
Screw Fist. He doesn't pay us enough for this.
It would have been quicker to just kill them.
Despite some sound logic from Rex, we let the last two goons leave, which gave us access to Fist, the guy we fought so hard to see. As Fist was just a human, I wasn't too threatened by him, and maybe my recent victory over the Krogan mini-boss had me a bit overconfident, because upon the fight starting, I immediately sprinted at him. I didn't realize he had two turrets defending him. It was a close call, but it seemed that by running past them, they actually had a bit of a blind spot and wouldn't shoot me if I was over by Fist. Turns out I was right not to be scared of Fist, as once I used my sabotage ability and disabled his gun, he couldn't do anything except stare at me blankly. Seriously, this man should have been named Wet Paper Bag with how strong he was. Okay, thanks, boys.
Wait! Don't kill me, I surrender!
I don't leave jobs half done.
After dealing with Fist, we were in a race to save Aquarian we'd been looking for. She was going to be ambushed by a Turian assassin who turns out is the best at spacing in close combat. It didn't matter though, we got him eventually. We then officially met
Tali. Tali Zora.
Who asked? She shared with us some evidence against Sarin.
Let the moon shining light hide to lovers with its rays. Though I know that dawn will set us on course for separate ways.
That's Sarin's voice. This proves he was involved in the attack.
And then kindly put her life on hold to join us in the fight against him.
Sarin is a danger to the entire galaxy. My pilgrimage can wait.
It turns out that Tali can be quite tanky and has some decent utility skills which will be an asset later on. She was a good addition to the team. Thank you so much for watching this far. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see how the rest of this run goes. If you thought the Krogan was tough, just you wait. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.